Jack, and with the input of Helen, probably, of our Culpepper Tullock reunion slides going all the way back to 1958, as you can see here. That's Daddy and Mama in 1958. This is taken down at the old home place in the front yard. The snowball tree there in the background. Here is the Burris family when they were all intact. Not all of them are there, but now you all help me. Is that Judy? Yes, that's Judy, Clarence, Gracie, and Willie. And remember, these are in 1958, which would be several years ago. Here are the McLeans: Jim, Evelyn, Virginia, and blood and guts, Lloyd. Fodrod, in other words. And as you go along, you'll see these folks grow up. Here's Julie and Cloudy, and is that Alfred and Becky? Yeah. Here are Helen and Gina and Jack, me, in other words. Jody and Helen and Cindy and Jocelyn. And that's in your home in Morristown, isn't it? The Newmans. Alfred and Janie, Kathy and Rick and Steve. Rick's the little one there. The Millers. Here is Pig and Clyde, and is that Jerry? Jerry, and
no, that ain't Jerry. That's Bill.
Bill and Janice.
Janice and
And
Spud.
Spud. Spud's not looking at the camera, right?
Jerry wasn't born.
He wasn't.
No, that's before Jerry's time.
Yeah. Now, the cars in the background are the modern automobiles at that time. And here is John and Helen. Now, y'all help me here now. Thelma, Beth, Sandra, and Lawrence. Lawrence. Bet and C.H. and June and what's their boy? Mark. Well, y'all help me a little bit now. Don't be too hard on me. After all, if you look down, you won't see the carport that's back of the old house there now. This is taken right beside the old house, but the carport is not there, and I don't believe the present Miller house is there. But you can see the old barn that Uncle Joe and myself built back in the late 50s. Here is Buck and Edith and Marietta and Elizabeth. Well, now this is an interesting picture. This is the back of the house on the barn side. And all of that porch has been torn off and redone. Maybe in one of the later pictures we'll see how it's done. This is Daddy and Lois, or commonly known as Pig. Here is Gina is on the right, Judy's in the middle, and is that Cindy? Y'all help me now. Cindy, and that's Judy's dogs. And this is taken at the Burris' home place up on Lonis Road, Dick Lonis Road. Now this is 1959. This is Jack and Helen. That was, let me focus just a little bit. Okay, now then, 1959. Let's see what happened in 1959. This is 1960. Now, I'm going to start at the front left. and I'm sure I'll get some help from the brother and sister here. Is that who's that pretty black-headed one on the left there on the front? Is that
Janice.
Janice, Judy, Kathy, and Elizabeth? And on the back is Sandra,
No, that's Thelma.
Thelma, Regina, Judy, and that is Sandra, isn't it?
That's Sandra.
Okay. Okay, that's a good-looking bunch of girls, isn't it? They've all grown up and made nice-looking ladies. Oh, we missed Beth there. She's in the middle there with her head laid back and smiling real big. Yeah. Here, Daddy was telling Brother Smith there, that's the pastor, some one of his big stories, and Mama is sitting patiently by so many times, as she said, and listened to Daddy expound on his experiences, which he was well capable of doing. Uncle Paul and Buck, Brother Buck. Buck was still smoking in those days, wasn't he? Uncle Paul is still living, Buck's still going, and just this week, Jody and me and John and Helen and my Helen and Janie and who else? Uncle Jimmy, some other of the family attended the funeral of Hubert, Charles Hubert. That was Uncle Paul's son. And of the 10 in that family, 8 children and 2 parents, Hubert was the first to go. And it was quite a sad occasion. Uncle Paul said he had buried a lot of people, but this was the first time he had to bury his own. Now, this is another one of those interesting people. That's John Harrell there, known as Saki. And Uncle Paul shading his eyes from the setting sun. And Daddy listening on, or either, I can't tell which one was telling the tale in this case, but I believe from the expression on Uncle Paul's face, it was Daddy was doing the talking. The house in the background is the house of Alfred and Janie. And you can see it way over in the distance, the water tank at Delano. And the railroad, of course, is in the background. I missed there one there. Now, this is going to be a little harder to do. We're not getting all of them on there. Well, when I adjust it over, I get that shadow there. Well, we'll keep the shadow in there. All right, let's start down on the front now. Helen, you and Jody, help me. Janice, Bud, and June, right? And Jocelyn. And who's that little in there? Ain't that one of, oh my, we're in trouble. Norma, one of Norma. Yeah. And there's Alfred and Lloyd, Lawrence, and Mark, and the girl there with something in her mouth.
Cindy, I believe.
No, that's not Cindy. That's one of Pig's daughters, isn't it? But you all figure it out as you watch this. And then let's slip back over here to the boy with the finger and with his nose on his fingers on his nose. And I believe that's one of the Payne boys. And I'm not sure that one has got his nose behind Lloyd's head. But up on the back row is Rick and Steve. And that cloud is the little girl on the back there. Huh? Judy.
Jack, this is Jennifer.
That's Jennifer, yeah.
Got a close
Jennifer, yeah. Okay, that's good. This is one of my favorite pictures right here. You know, Trick was the bachelor that lived across the road. And Mark Sterling thought that Trick was the greatest man I believe had ever lived. They were big buddies. And here's their picture taken down in the front yard there at the old home place. And Mark and Trick could get together and really have a good time. This one here is another one of those stories where, or pictures where a big tale is being told. Buck is the speaker here. Jody's on the right there listening very intently. There's John and me with our arms folded. Now, I don't know which one's John, which one's me, but I know the two of them. Yeah. And in the background, you see Mama and Daddy. They're slipping off to have some time by themselves. Now, I don't know who that is sitting there behind them, but this was before Jim and Creep had the old porch torn away and the living room extended out there. This was sometime in the 60s. Well, now, this is a conglomeration of them. There's Alfred on the left, hugging somebody. And right behind, is that Buck or Jim Rayburn there? I better know. Yeah, that's Buck. Edith sitting across from him looking at Daddy. Marietta's behind Edith. And there's Mama in her listening position, as she usually is. And Jim McLean sitting there holding his right hand with his left hand. And I believe that guy coming down the hill there is Lawrence. And the lady in the rocking chair up on the porch, I don't know. Okay, let's move on here. Jody and Rayburn and McLean, and I'm pretty sure there's some talk of politics going on in this. 61. Look at that. Can y'all name Norma and her children? Let's just say her children. Norma, Mike, Terry, and what's the other one's name? Tammy. I believe we have a cat over to the left corner, but I don't know whose that cat is. There's the Burris boy, Ronnie, and his wife. What's her name? Sherry. We should have made these back when we were 51 instead of 71. We'd remember better. This is Clarence and Willie up at their place in Knoxville. Some of the scenes on these shift back and forth, and some of them, sometimes they don't show. No, and burning. Here is a pile-up. They had Alfred down, little Alfred down. There's Steve and Mark, and I imagine that must be Rick behind, isn't it? There is our new station wagon, Helen and my new station wagon.
That's the one we went all the way across the country.
That's one we drove all the way across the country. Mark, June, and what's that other's name? Laura. If I got back, well, that's right. Here is the old home place in its original form, with the old trees and everything. And what? Yeah, you can see Daddy driving up through the front yard there. He's worn out the grass.
The dinner's out front.
That's right. This is when we had our. Yeah, this is before we got the spring. Yeah, we didn't go to the spring until 1958. There is the spread. We've not invaded this yet. I think some of them are still waiting there. We'll not try to name it in the background, except the one standing up on the porch with her hand on the column is Aunt Eunice. Now I've got that trouble again there. Bob, we never, that's before he shedded, and we never could figure out if Bob lived to eat or eat to live. It's kind of a quandary among the family. But Bob has grown up to be a good-looking man, and he's got a fine family. He's a good worker. Oh, let me tell you the background.
Look over the pallet there.
Oh, over on the pallet, who would that be? That's Willie, isn't it? With one of her grandchildren. Well,
I believe 58's walking off.
And the old fence there in the background is gone now. It's not there anymore. You used to have a corn patch right there. Oh boy, now this is it right here. The ball game, the pitcher I believe is Alfred Newman, and that followed the big feast, and they're getting ready to go. There you are. Maybe that preceded the feast, but I want you to look at the grub. Now I think we've already, yeah,
Grandma there.
we've already been on this, huh? No, that's
Grandma, Miss Tullock standing out.
no, that's Aunt Eunice.
Aunt Eunice,
Yeah.
Aunt Eunice,
And the lady in black back there, what was her name? Daddy's teacher. What was her name? We won't remember
He used to go
that.
and get her all the time.
Miss Thompson?
No, that's not quite it. That's not showing everything, Jody, on the screen there.
Well,
Oh, no.
you moved. I
No,
moved the camera, you moved the
No,
thing.
it's showing about everything.
no, it's not. See, there's Miss. What?
Where do you leave?
Well, I'm not focused right. Everybody hold everything now. I'm going to do some focusing here. No, I'll get it right in a minute. Just hold on. Try to get everybody in the picture. What happened to it? We had it just right a while ago. Well, we've not got... No, we've not got the teacher in there, you see. You can't see from where you're sitting. Well, let's see what got next. Ah, there's old Rick. Rick. Look at the spectators in the background. Rick's got on a different cap. He always had a different cap. There's a good discussion. There's Daddy and his teacher. She's standing behind him, and Helen's sitting there, and a few more. That was when well, I guess Daddy was working at Knoxville at that time, wasn't he? And that ain't Nell, honey, on the very left,
It's
John?
Nell right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, see?
ain't Nell and Willie, and I believe there's Jody's Helen and Betty. Well, we'll not. That's Floyd sitting in the very front there, Babe's wife. There's Aunt Nell again. These pictures are down at the old home place. There is little Warren. He was Patsy's baby, a blue baby. Warren has passed on quite some time back. I used to know who those two are, but I'm not sure I know now. One of them, I believe, is June on the bottom there. We had so many babies back then, I couldn't keep up with them. Here, John is fixing to leave for Nashville, and Daddy is making him prove to him that he's not got any extra luggage like a ham of meat or something like that in his car. Pop always got a kick out of accusing us boys of stealing his goods, his groceries and his tools and all. Of course, it's all through fun. What in the world was her name? That was the teacher. That's the teacher. Daddy always went and got her. Here is the playhouse on the hill. Now, this playhouse stands right up above where Janie lives now in the woods there, and it was a little bit better than what you would use, not quite as good as what you would used to see out in the stump town. I don't know where they got the idea for this design, but that's the young girls at that time, Gina's age, and Beth and Elizabeth and so forth. We're having a little problem here with our different slides. I don't know why those. Well, there's 2, 3, 4 good Tullocks, and this is a 1961. There's Rhoda. Rhoda is now in the nursing home. Daddy, of course, has passed on, and so has Aunt Nell. The fella in the straw hat there is Lauren's a good friend, Trick Payne. Lived across the road from us. That's a gathering. I can recognize Cloudy sitting there by the tree, and I can recognize Mama, and I can recognize Buck, I believe, Trick, I recognize him by his hat, and that's preacher Smith, Jethro Smith. Yeah, and others in there. I can't quite. We've not. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, that's Jethro. And CH is sitting in the chair there, and I believe that's Miller in the background there with a cup of coffee in his hand. Here is Clarence and Willie, and Clarence had on one of his famous poses. He was always. We've got some more in here that you'll enjoy seeing. He was the fun. Oh, there they are. You know, over on the hill from us was the Henniger family. And they'd about all died off but Bose, and Bose went out and found him a sweetheart. And they would come to our reunion, most 2 or 3 years there and run. And this was not at the reunion, I'll tell you why, because you see Bose has got on an overcoat. This was close to a Christmas gathering. But it was in '61. Of course, Bose has gone on. There's Kenneth and Rhodey. Kenneth has gone on. And little Rhodey's standing there by him. The background there, of course, is up the hill. These were probably Thanksgiving pictures. Now this is '62, and this is the Tullocks.
That was your family at that time.
And some of the children were in it. Some of the isn't that Elizabeth on the left? That's not Elizabeth. She wouldn't have been that big. No, they're all there.
There's Lois, Mr. Tullock, Miss Tullock, and Betty. Then behind that, Mr. Tullock.
It looks like Edith and Creepy.
Edith, Creepy. Willie. And behind Willie, then there's John, Jody. And I don't know the...
That's me. That's me
Jack,
on the
yeah,
left.
Lord,
And I can't tell who's in the shadow there. Yeah, I guess it's cloudy. This is this is Ollie, Eunice, Melly, Paul, Jimmy, and Babe. Robert and Norman is their names. Jimmy and Babe. Babe is going on. All of these going on except Paul and Jimmy, and they're the survivors of the 18 children. Here's Paul and Beulah, taken down at the house there, in the front yard. This is Aunt Maud Stokes. We are a family of children that we have 4 Aunt Mauds, and this is one of them. Aunt Maud Pack was the other one. She married Arthur Pack. And then there was Aunt Maud Culpepper. We used to call her Aunt Dolph Maud. And then Uncle Pete's Maud, James Culpepper's mother. Dolph, of course. Pete's Maud still lives, yeah. And this is Raymond Stokes, Aunt Maud Tullock's husband. He has gone on. Here is that bunch of lasses again that we've taken before. Mary Elizabeth. In the middle, who's that? Cindy and Beth, Thelma, Kathy, Judy, Gina, Grace, Ronnie's wife.
Sherry. Honey, Miss Cindy right here?
Look at that. Look at this picture over here, Jody. Yeah, that's Cindy. He just.
Cindy, yeah. That's Cindy, yeah. And then the one in the back there is one of John's.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now then, here is that bunch of younger ones, and I'll tell you, we'll not try to name them, but you can figure them out. This is Buck, Edith, and Mary Elizabeth. Now, wouldn't that have been Mary Elizabeth? Or Elizabeth. Huh?
That was Cindy, honey.
Okay.
That had the short hair.
Here's the Barris family. Willie, Clarence, Gracie, Judy, and Ronnie's wife, Sherry. This is also down at the house. Helen, me, and Regina.
No, this
No,
is
no,
older.
no. This is later years. I took about the same pictures every year there for a while.
Yeah, there's Jody.
There's Jody and his family.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ja's there. Now, Jody, look at Cindy. That's her. Yeah.
She's in that field, sitting up above the bed.
Here's old Newman's bunch.
This is a little later.
Please notice Rick's got on a different cap. He always had a different cap. And there's Rick and Steve and Kathy and Janie and Alfred. That's a good-looking bunch there now.
That's John's family.
John and his group from Nashville. There's one.
Bet's family.
Yeah. Juanita and his two girls.
Judy and Kay.
Judy and Kay.
Yeah. There's Goob, Rayburn, and his two boys. One of them was crying because he didn't want to have his picture made. Oh, by the way, that represents the Republican Party of our family right there. These are the Republican ones. Juanita was in there. Clarence Barris. I wondered about those younger ones there, if they've ever turned over. That's a scene from the looking down the front yard over across Trick's Woods over there. Here we are having the blessing. There's another thing here I want to show you. Well, we missed it, I
I
guess.
think that other was one that you asked Lawrence why didn't he have his head down. I don't know why he
I
didn't.
don't think it was in there. There's one in here where we were having the blessing and Lawrence didn't have his head bowed. This is Preacher Hooker, Daddy, and Preacher Jethro Smith, and you can see the top of Mama's head there. In the background, the house that's since been torn down was Trick's little house that was across the road there from us. And then right in front of Daddy's eyes there is the little outhouse he had, and the chicken house, and then the barn. The barn still stands. This belongs to Goob now, Goob and the Rayburns. But the house has been torn down, and these other little outhouses have been torn down, but the barn is still there. This is not a too clear a picture, but I think that's some of the older generation having a talk. Sometimes
A little dark.
in photography, you don't get your light just right. That's Jaw, and that's Sput looking this way. And I don't know who the other two are. There's Jody. I want you to look at you in that picture.
Bald head.
Huh?
Skinny as a rail.
Skinny as a rail.
68 pounds.
And there's the teacher.
And look at Grandma with her hands on her hips.
Honey, that's Aunt Eunice.
I keep thinking of it.
No, well, they did look a lot alike.
Yeah, she's been there a long time.
No,
No,
she's talking about Grandma Tullock,
I'm
honey.
talking about,
Mama.
I'm talking about Miss Tullock.
Hey,
Oh, look at Jerry.
that's old Jerry. He's into the ice. That just looks like Jerry, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Here they are loading their plates, all getting ready. There's Aunt Nell I see in there and several others. Look at this. Huh? Oh, that's Mama. I've always liked this picture. I would say something about it, but I won't. Pop's sipping his coffee. Oh, by the way, there's one with her back to her. That's Aunt Liz Peck. She's Grandma Culpepper's sister. She lived up here at Etowah, and that's the teacher in front of her there. You get her name, Jody? Jody's trying to get the name of that teacher. There's Daddy and Pig and Willie. And
That was after Willie was sick, too.
yeah,
so
Willie. I
taking
don't know who that
medicine.
lady was. Yeah, Willie was being treated for her problem at that time. It's a good picture of the old home place. There's Aunt Liz, a little better. She has since gone. She and Uncle Frank both have gone. There they are, Frank Peck and Aunt Liz. Uncle Frank was a tough old man. He roofed houses almost up to the time he died. There is Jean and Aunt Maud Pack. It's a good picture out the window. Mott, Wimp, Clarence, and Trick. Trick's got his faithful pipe. The house, the little white house to the left up there, is the old smokehouse. If we had all the meat that's been cured in that smokehouse, we'd have a lot of meat. It still stands. Here is Babe and Floy and Willie, and Babe and Floy. I guess that's Carolyn and one of their children. Babe departed this life at a very young age, we think, suddenly, and we've missed him. Floy is still around. Sometimes we get in touch with her, do some family trees and things like that. Here's Uncle Babe, Uncle Jimmy. Is that Cloudy? Cloudy, and I have to miss one there, and one of the Paynes, Buck, and another Payne, Mott, and I don't know which one that is. That's not Clifford, is it?
That's Clifford.
I believe it's Clifford.
This one is Clifford, I'm almost sure. What I was thinking.
Here they are again, Trick and Mark together with Wimp in the background, and I believe that's Mott behind Trick. Here's Spud and Jerry again. Tell old Jerry by that smile, he's always had it. Here he is. Is that Jerry?
I wouldn't know which one, but it looks like Jerry.
That saying on there is, because I'm a little deer. There is Warren again before his death. The old swimming hole. Now this is over at the spring. This ought to be about 1958. No, this is taken right down here at Stone's Restaurant, or the Etowah Restaurant. Mama and Gina and Daddy and Mother, Helen.
Oh, look what my
Yeah,
hair.
it's when you rolled it up.
My hair.
Yeah. 1964 now. These are some of my small gourds. This is at our house in Cleveland, in Bowman Hills. And Jerry came down and I gave him one of my big gourds. Well, we're back. We're not exactly chronologically right on these, but we're back in the front yard. That's Willie and Willie. Yeah, but we went to spring in '58, but we didn't go over there every year, I guess. Here's Helen, and you can see Aunt Eunice, and I believe that's Mott helping himself there. This is another scene. Now, where was this one taken?
That's out front.
No. We never had guttering on the house like that. No shade trees. Was that taken up at Willie's and Clarence's? Let's see here. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's Mother
Yeah.
and Daddy.
Yeah.
That was the year we had it up at Willie's.
That's we had this up at Willie's. There's Corey and Aunt Maud over there, and Sam. Now the young man I don't know. But start with Sam, Aunt Maud, Corey, Mr. Lee, and Miss Lee, Helen's mother and daddy. And that's Lauren's. What's his name? Yeah. Jody's going to answer his phone. This is
Taking that same day.
this is our family and their spouses. Mom and Daddy are in front. There's Helen and Jack, and Willie and the side of Clarence's head, and John and Helen, Betty and C.H., Helen and Jody, Alfred and Janie, Eunice and Pig. No, Cloudy's not it. Yeah, there's Cloudy. Yeah, his head hanging around Pig there. And Evelyn and Buck. Where's McLean? They not seen him? I guess him. This is another bunch of them that met up there. We'll not try to name all of them.
Mary Armstrong.
Mary Armstrong is Daddy's teacher's name. I don't know if she'll appear in any more of these. This was taken up at Willie's place. There's Betty, Pig, Janie. Is that Janie? Boy, she looks young. Then Janie, Evelyn, and Willie. The background is John, Jody, Jack, Cloudy, and Buck. That's the family there. 10 of us. That's when we're all still up and going. Now there's Aunt Maud, Mama, Cloudy, and Corey, the lady with her head behind there, I don't know, and June. Now there's Miss Armstrong, Mary Armstrong, the lady in black, with Helen over to the left, and Aunt Maud and Edith. Is that Edith? Yeah. These were taken in the front yard. Uncle Frank, Peck, and Betty, they were big buddies. Here we are in the front yard again. That's Alfred is back to us, and John and Mr. Lee, C.H. and Bobby standing, and Buck and Sam Tullock talking. Sam was Daddy's cousin. First cousin. Mama and Daddy with Miss Armstrong, and I don't know the lady with her there. That gal with the wicked look in her eyes is my wife. I don't know. She may have been looking at me. And Daddy with testing the coffee again. Y'all know who the others were? And Pop must have liked that coffee. He's going back after some more. And Mama sitting there with that Culpepper look on her face. She always sat around and meditated. Sat sideways with her head one-sided. That's the way Mama was. Oh, the lady there. No, that wasn't who it was. There they are. Yeah, there they are. Little Warren and who are those? Tadpole, and is that Bobby?
Must be Bobby.
Oh, Bobby's bigger than that. No. Yeah, he was. You're right there. There's the old Mark getting ready to hit a home run. The old swimming pool. We're back now at the spring. Steve's doing the waving, and they're all so wet and shaggy, I can't tell who they are. Get the branch how deep it is. But it used to be deep naturally that way, yeah. They're still in the branch. I can't tell who that one is. Now there is that famous photo of Wendy. Guggenheim, yeah. He had to take it took him a little while to work into that, but he finally got it right. 66, W.R. and Ollie. Here's the Culpepper. No, this is the living Mama's generation. There's Dolphin Maud, Roy and Ollie, and Carl and Melly, and Babe and Eunice. Now, Babe and Eunice were brothers, sisters. These others are man and wife, husband and wife. There's Dolphin Maud. That's a good picture there. Yeah, it really is a good picture. That's a good picture of Carl and Melly. Babe and Aunt Eunice. I don't know where Floyd was. And that's his daughter.
That's Carolyn.
Carolyn. That's me and Helen and Gina.
That's Betty, isn't It's Gina.
That's Gina.
Gina.
She got her hair done
got her
right
hair
there.
done up different. Made her look older.
Yeah. Well, Clarence is leaning up against a tree, and Crumley is standing there listening to Wimp. Buck is telling one of his, and he's got Ronnie down there in the chair. They're talking politics, I guess. Isn't that the boy that Gina went with?
That's Regina and a boyfriend with her.
Yeah, and
Gary. Looks like Gary.
yeah, and it must be Judy Geiger, and
That's Gary Gray.
and that Judy's ex there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Judy.
What was his name? Who was Judy married to? Judy. Well, it's left us. There's Miller on the pony. Now that's the pony I tried. That's the Miller. That's the pony I tried to catch, I believe. And I got it with a bridle, and it flipped me around, and it flipped around, and its two hind feet landed square on my rump, and everybody laughed. Ah, there's the beauty looking around the tree. Kathy. I don't know what's going on here, but there.
Well, I know what's going on.
Is that a search?
Hard loading up the kids.
Yeah, getting ready to go somewhere. Here is a scene that was very familiar back in those days. A ball scene with Trick's barn and his toilet and all in the background. There's one of them sliding in. I think this is Rick playing one of his solo games. He'd get out and get up at the home plate, and an imaginary ball would come over, and he'd strike it and hit it and take off to first base. Slide in. There's one of the Payne boys, I believe. That is... No, that's, no. I don't know that one.
Anyway, somebody.
This is a fine group here. Now, these pictures were taken at John and Helen's in Nashville. There's Jesse in there. And, no, Gina. Is that Gina?
It was some
Gina,
occasion
yeah.
when Jesse was there visiting from Brazil.
Yeah.
That they had a dinner, and we all
Yeah.
gathered over there.
Isn't that Pat Fife hanging on to the... Yeah, that's Pat.
Fine.
Hanging on to the post there. There's Jesse. He was from Brazil. Came here and went to school a year to sharpen up on his English language. He's a lawyer in Brazil now. There's Beth. Is that Beth?
That's
Beth and Jean. Is that Beth?
That's Jesse.
And Jesse. I know it's Jesse, but... Well, now there's the Tullock production of Grapes down on... down in Cleveland when we lived in Cleveland. That's Gina, Mother, if you believe it or
Her
not.
hair,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. That was quite a crop of grapes. Of course, you would expect that from me. There's the Reverend with his Pepsi-Cola. Or is that a 7-Up or what? At his house. These pictures are just random. Honey, is that Beth?
That's bad. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
They wore their hair differently.
Yeah.
And it's a little confusing.
Now there.
Now that's Regina,
Boy,
you and I. Look at Regina's hairdo. See, it's
I
entirely
hope
different
she'll
again.
take a good look at these.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Fife. Fife was a student over there at that time. I believe that girl is a girl that is going with Jesse. I don't think she's Beth. Beth, if it's not you, we're sorry.
College there.
Here is John's house in Delano. How did that get in there? That's later on.
See, got 71. It's turned around.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, that one
that's
turned
around.
Yeah.
71.
Yeah, that's what's wrong. We didn't edit these much. We might redo them one of these days and have them better. But I don't believe it'd be much better. Okay, Jody, turn off your equipment. Okay, now we're back on our second carousel here. And we'll have to wait till we find the date on them before we can tell you when it is. But this is at our reunion somewhere. There's Daddy is still with us. And he's, yeah, I believe this is at John's house. That's still at John's house. That's all right. We need to do a little, uh-oh, John, put that magazine back under that thing. Who that's got her mouth open so wide there?
Oh, I can't figure that one.
Well, let's let it go at that. What do you say? I don't like it this way. Y'all just wait a minute now. We're going to get this thing right here.
Turn it off while we're doing
Well, no, we don't need to turn it off. We'll put another picture on there. You turn it off?
That's better.
Okay.
That was at
Oh,
John's. See,
yeah,
was
that's
at-
John's house now. I forget what year this was, but I believe it was about 1966. Wasn't that when Jesse came on here?
Must be about.
There's John and Beth. Okay, you can. Huh? That's okay.
I think it's all right.
Get this microphone out of the way. Okay. Helen, Beth, John, and Floss. Commonly known as Creepy. In the,
Got it out of sync again, son.
huh?
Got it out of sync again.
Right out of sync. You know it was in the sink.
Now then, you're okay. Don't bother.
Okay.
Don't touch it.
Okay. All right. There's Beth, Judy, and Gina putting on one of their poses. Gina's letting her hair grow out somewhat. That is Gina.
That's Regina, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. Better look at this other picture over
I
here.
can tell for some reason.
Well, it's clear. Here's C.H. and Betty listening to Uncle Clarence tell one of his. Now, this right here is the cleanup when we first began to go over to the spring. And I remember wading around in that water there and coming down that night with one of the worst colds I have ever had. That's Gina and Floss in the back, Gina in the middle and Floss in the background with the cap on. We cleaned the old branch up real good, and as I recall, I thought this was in 58, but it's 58 when we had our first reunion. We maybe can come up with the date here before long. There's a scene over at the spring. I'm having trouble with my microphone, getting it in the right place. There's another scene at the spring. You see the branch in the background. Miller putting the boarding house boom on there, and Floss in her cap. They always had plenty of food. There's McLean. He's got his stuff going in good gear.
He's got a whole bowl.
Yeah, he's eating out of a bowl. This is a sad-looking bunch here. I don't know why they're so sad. Look, I'll tell you why. One of the reasons some of us stayed all night over there in tents and slept, and we were kind of feeling bad. This is a breakfast here. This is when we're eating breakfast. There's PH.
See, there's 1972. That's it.
1972.
Right, that's
There's PH Hooker and John telling some of their big gospel stories. Well, I don't know who. Is that you, Jody? Bob? No, Bob wasn't that far along with his hairdo, was he? Yeah, I guess it was. I believe that was you. I'm not sure. We'll see. There's the two Helens together. Yeah, that's you. That's you. See, you got your striped shirt on. Rayburn and his boy and Floss and Jody loading up there. Another load. Who's the black-headed girl? Jody, is that Cindy?
I believe that's
Trouble with this thing. Why is it getting that noise on it, Jody?
you called it.
There's John and Hooker still talking. They were big buddies. Jerry and one of the little ones.
That's Spud.
Spud. Is that Spud? Yes, it is. Yeah. And
That's better now.
Goob and Rayburn always brought theirs in the tub. I don't know if they really had that much food or not, but it looked good. And Rayburn always had his faithful pipe with him. Rayburn told me one time that the first time he saw Goob, he was riding the train. You know, Rayburn was a railroader. And he saw Goob sitting out in the front yard, and he said right then, he said, I'm going to marry that woman. And sure enough, he did. The ducks there, we had a beautiful, yeah, bless her heart. We had a beautiful flock of ducks. But they disappeared one time, and they never did come back. Ducks had a habit of doing that. I used to have 10 white Peking ducks on the branch there when I was just a boy, and they all disappeared but one old Drake. He stayed around all the time. That's Thor and Gina, her big Doberman dog.
In Cleveland.
At Beach Circle. That's their place in Beach Circle, yeah.
Thor.
And then their dog. There she is sitting at the table. Here's the this is 73, and we spent the night over there in the tent, and I'm cleaning up there. They say I clean up pretty good. There's Floss and
Regina and me there, I believe.
yes, it is, yeah.
That's my back.
That's some of the other girls, some of the girls. We had these old telephone wire spools for tables, and they finally rotted down. There's a good trio, Daddy, and Mama, Daddy and Aunt Eunice and Aunt Maud. Mama, had Mama gone on? Mama had passed away, hadn't she? Yeah. Trick there. It's 74. Yeah, there's Floss, John, Jody, Janie, Lois, Jack, and Daddy. Yeah, I believe this is the year after Mama had left us.
Don't mention those. Don't mention those.
No, we'll pass on all that. And that's Wood there, sipping the tea. There's Mama and Daddy and Aunt Maud Stokes. There's Mother and me, Helen and me, and Mott, Kay, and Judy, and the boy's name.
Oh, that's her husband.
Yeah, yeah, and Juanita. Here's Rayburn with his knife collection. I'll have to say one thing for Rayburn. He had a nice collection of knives. It's really something. There's Aunt Jane frying the chicken. Goob was helping her, and I don't know who that was looking on, but Daddy all relaxed, and Aunt Maud packing the background, and Aunt Maud Stokes with the white shoes on. This was over at the spring. If you look right to the upper right of the picture, that's the shed that never was built. We got a big idea that we're going to build a sort of a pavilion over there, and we got that much of it done, and the rest of it, and then now it's went back to dust. It rotted down, and we never did finish it. Ah, there's the snuff dipper. Old Jerry. There's Jennifer and help me with that one. Missy, yeah. Look at that Jerry. Isn't that awful? Now we're in Florida all of a sudden. Down at Cloudy's place in Tampa, Florida, and we're picking oranges off this tree. Here we are, 1975, at Daddy's birthday party, and I believe we had this up at Betty's. We had him a money tree, and that's Floss there taking care of things. Don't know what the signal is here, but Pop was getting quite feeble in those days. 76. This is at Kathy's little house there in Delano.
They had their first home.
This is their first place.
When she married.
And then here is, we're back over at the spring, yeah. Yeah, we got us a fire pit built there and a place to fry chicken. Coming on up into modern times now. There's
Babe.
another gathering. Yeah, Babe is still living. That's Daddy and I believe, is that Cenie or is that Aunt Maud? Or who is that he's talking to? Well, anyway, Pig and him in the background. Yeah, this is Janie's favorite. I love her best when she's frying chicken. She's a good chicken fryer. Then there's Aunt Maud and Floyd. Aunt Maud Pack and Floyd. Here is Helen. Oh, that's Cenie and Leela. Ooh, there's old Leela and Cenie. Now that's too good with her. Both of them have gone and left us. There's Kathy.
Cenie gone?
Yeah,
Cenie
she's
Herring?
been
Yeah, you know, we buried her up around toward Blue Ridge up there. And that's Gracie, I guess, and Aunt Eunice. Yeah. Here's Steve and some more people.
What he had
Yeah, Steve got her in there, yeah. There's old.
That's the historian.
I'm doing research with Aunt Maud. She's telling me all about the Culpeppers. Kathy and so forth. There's Leela sitting back there. This is McLean and Jerry down in front. Yeah. And there's Aunt Rhoda up there with the black purse. I believe that's who that is.
That's who it is.
And this is down at the spring. Kenneth and Rhodey. As I said, Rhodey's still in the nursing home, and Kenneth has gone on. Helen and Floss standing, and Jim with the hat on, and Leela down at the end of the table, and I believe that must be Beth there, or somebody. Aunt Maud. I need to look at this over here. There's Daddy. I hope you can see that hat he's got on. He's got them all in trawl there in one of his tails. There's Bill Miller there with all his hair. And I don't know who that one is. That's over at the spring. Jody says he thinks it's John. It probably is. There is Floss in her favorite position. I don't know where that is because it's got a stepladder in the bedroom.
That's in their little room. That's now the part of the den.
Yeah.
They've made that included all that in the den.
Yeah. Okay. We got Floss this rocking chair. An appreciation for her effort in taking care of Daddy. Now, Daddy had gone on that. This is 78. And after Daddy died, we bought her this rocking chair. Show her our appreciation. She enjoyed it. Still does. There's Uncle Frank. Frank Peck. Aunt Liz is gone. He's by himself. Somebody tell me who that one is.
That's me, but who
I know it's who you're holding.
I don't know which one that is.
You got the wide-eyed, isn't you?
Now, go on, next one.
There's Don Humphrey and talking with Miller, Hyde Miller. And these pictures are not too good. I apologize.
That's a good one,
Bill
Bill,
Miller.
with all that hair.
Bill Miller, and there's Rayburn's boy in the background with Aunt Eunice. That's just a conglomeration of Another conglomeration. There's Goo's got the board. She's helping with the cooking there, I believe. And I believe that's David Tullock there making a charge for something, I don't know what. Isn't that David? I believe it is. They're having a good conversation. A lot of talking goes on at these reunions. There's one we haven't been seeing. And that's Patsy there. We've not been seeing Patsy in this very much. Jim and John, creepy. I don't know those background pictures too well. That's Patsy's husband there. First husband. It's a good talk going on there. Horseshoes. No, he's not praying. He's going up to check on that horseshoe game. Regina and Helen and somebody in the background. Oh, now that there is my favorite position. Cutting a big watermelon. And by the way, I wanted to go on record that I raised this watermelon. I can grow something. Mark was wanted on the motorcycle, wasn't he, honey? Jody, was it Mark that rode the motorcycle down?
I can't remember, but I believe so.
These little ones got on.
Anybody else had another?
Yeah. Now, isn't that nice? I don't know which one that is, but boy, she's sleeping. I believe that's one of... It's 79. Floss is out testing the water there. 79. Now, these pictures could be better. That's a conglomeration. John is standing up overseeing things. I've not seen Lloyd in any of these. Was he in any of these? There's Helen.
Betty, I see Betty.
Betty back there. Yeah.
Clarence.
Clarence in this one? Yeah, I guess he was. This fella down here in front. I remember him, but I don't remember his name. There's Uncle Babe, and Aunt Eunice, and Preacher Freeman is there. And that's Dimp with his back to us.
And isn't that Joe? Joe is in
Uncle Joe.
Is in that
Yeah,
there?
there's Joe, Isaac Freeman, Norman Culpepper, and Eunice Payne.
Yeah.
In the great, yeah. Isaac Freeman was our family pastor. There's honey, when did you start wearing your hair like that?
I don't know.
That's Helen and Pig and Leela and Ceenie enjoying their meal. Miller, and I believe that's the Rayburn boy, I'm not sure. And Lord, there's old Charles. That's the first time he's got in these pictures. You can see the wall is still standing back there. It hadn't fallen yet, but it was getting shaky. There's Leela and Ceenie and Jerry and that's Jacqueline. It's the first time she's got in these pictures.
That's Jacqueline.
Yeah. Well, we're making some progress. There's old Charlie again. Oh, that boy squatting down there is Pink's boy, Gary, isn't it? Yeah, there's Pink.
Because there's Pink.
Pink, Goob, Miller, and
Rayburn.
Rayburn. Ah, there they are, Gina and Helen and Bill's wife. I mean, yeah, Bill's wife. What's her name? Oh boy.
Jody.
Beverly.
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 Getting old.
Beverly.
Getting old. Names won't come to us.
Yeah. Well, there's Leela and them again. Leela and Ceenie.
Jody.
Yeah. There's Bev and Gina and me with Floyd in the background. And there's your other son-in-law, Jody. There's your son-in-law up there, propped up against the car. Mike.
That's Mike.
Mike, just to the left of the tree.
Oh, yeah.
Beverly and Jerry and
Boy, look at that
Jacqueline.
look on Jacqueline's face. Woo.
What is she?
Jacqueline, you must smile. Right, now there they are.
That's the babies.
Wish we could name them, but I'm sure we can't.
Babies in 72.
There's Rhodey and Mark. There's Isaac and Uncle Joe. What about that? Well, we got a big construction job going on there. I believe that's Demp's grandson and somebody else.
Probably Rick with that hat on.
There's Helen and me. That's a late picture, honey.
That's pretty late.
And there's Gina and Rhodey and Helen and me. Gambling. They always had a little gambling on the side.
Well, that's they always played
Oh, well, I know.
yeah, they always played Rook,
Rook.
I believe.
Yeah, they had a rook tournament going on back then. Well, Missy's growing up there, ain't she?
Yeah.
Who's that baby there?
Who is that baby?
I don't know.
They've been a man, no.
No,
I think that's in another generation. There's Floss. They're their heater in their house home.
that's when they first got the heat.
Yeah. A new heater. Dr. Jim McLean, he's taking blood pressure of Floss. I don't know. Sitting there looking at him like that, her blood pressure probably shot way up. Helen, is that you in the background? Yeah, that's you. Where was this picture made? Oh, this is one of you at your house, at your mother's house, Helen. Remember?
No, that's at Regina's.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Maryville.
that's right, Regina's.
That's in Maryville. And I
Our
believe
Thanksgiving.
It's a Thanksgiving.
Everything we used to have Thanksgiving in Regina.
82.
1982 rolls in, and bless Pete, I don't know whose house this is.
Whose house is that?
I don't know.
Now
That's Uncle Robert Hughes.
when he lived in the apartment.
When he lived in their little apartment there. We're at our house in Delano, 82. We just moved up there.
We just built. And that was
That's
15 years
right.
ago.
Sorry to say, 115. I don't know who they are, but they're friends or some. Oh, there's Joe
Joe.
and
Carol.
Carol and their 3 children. I talked to them last night.
You called
Talked to Carol last night. They're living in Marion, Louisiana. And they want to come to the reunion, but I'm not sure. Now, this is Uncle Joe Culpepper's son. And here is his daughter. I wish it wasn't so dark.
Oh, that's Chucky.
That's Chucky and Danny and their 2 children, and then Helen. But she is in the shadow. And
We're over at the cemetery there.
here is a better picture of her.
Yeah.
She's one with the red blouse on. And this is Helen, Jimmy, and Chucky, and their daughter, and Danny, her husband, and Floss, and the baby. Did they have a baby at that
No,
time?
I
Mama?
don't think so. No, they
But we're down in.
just- They did. That's
Yeah.
their 2 children.
Yeah.
That one was the baby. They
And
have
that-
a boy and a girl.
That little girl just got married this
She
summer.
just got married this spring.
We're over at the old spring there.
And they live at Tyler, Texas.
That concrete you see there is the old spring built way back yonder, and it's still running. And they live in Tyler, Texas. We tried to call them, but we never get to them. I ride them every year. There's Chucky. She's a right nice looking lady, and they were nice. Joe and Chucky and their families were just superb. We didn't know they existed until Joe, long before Joe died. We got in touch with them. And we were going to go out to see them, and we were going to go at Easter. Joe and I were going to fly out to see them, but he died in February, and they came in. Little Joe, and his family came in for the funeral, and Chucky came later.
She was snowed in.
Now we're running there, son. Here is a picture. don't know where it was. Is that down at the spring? Yeah, there's the tables.
Spring, and we were
Yeah,
having a cookout
yeah.
while Chucky was here.
Oh yeah, I'd started building these picnic tables. There's one on top of the other one turned upside down. Here is Chucky and Danny and the children at the spring down there. This was on our porch up at the mountain house. When they were here, they came in to see Joe's grave. There's Chucky reading the paper. There's Danny.
That's at our house here in Cleveland,
Yeah.
Delano, when we had the porch instead of the
Yeah,
kitchen
well,
out there. See,
yeah.
that's what it was screened
What
in.
did Carol tell me Danny was doing? He works in Dallas or somewhere and commutes back and forth. But her husband, Joe, drives a big truck for a company. Here is we had this supper for them or dinner or something down at the Wetmore Church. We had a pretty good turnout. There's Buck, Danny, and Chucky. Here is a pair of coveralls that Wimp's wife. Wimp's wife was working in a sewing factory and they made coveralls. And these coveralls, would you guess who they're for? Pig Crumley. Pig Crumley. Two of them got in these. Two of the littler ones. There's the Reverend. What was the hatchet the symbol of? I forget now what it was.
I don't remember.
That's Beth and Jean. Now that's Jean's. I believe that's the first time we picked Jean up in these pictures.
Well, see,
isn't it?
that's over here at Delano.
Yeah, that's at John's house at Delano. Yeah. Here is our buckeye bush down at when we lived down in Cleveland. Buckeyes, just in bloom, pretty. Well, it was done without this. This is me and Charlie Bates, the guy I worked with. Or we were with the State Department together. Jack and Helen. Upside down. 82, I believe. Helen's sitting somewhere. I'll get these straightened out. That guy right there. Hey, Jim, who is that?
Up at Knoxville, you and I went to see Uncle Paul.
Oh, that's Uncle Paul Tullock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looked so much
Uncle
like
Paul
Mr.
Tullock, yeah.
Tullock.
Let's see if we got another. Yeah, there's Paul and Estelle. Paul and Stooley. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, her name is Estelle.
Just, yeah, that's her. Come over here and look at this
That's
better
their house at Knoxville. We went up to, and Jody.
And here is Jack, Jody, and Floss. That was when we went up. There is our little dog, Betsy, that was named after the Hurricane Betsy. And now these two pictures here, this one is our great aunt, Harriet Rebecca Culpepper.
Great.
Yeah, great.
At least two greats.
Yeah. Harriet Rebecca Culpepper, Grandpa's sister. And here's her husband, Jim Lewis. They had a big family of children. And there's a close look at him. Pretty good looking fella, isn't he? And that's it.
You
Turn
don't
off.
put these others on as a fuel.
We got any more room on there, Jody? Turn it off. Let me help. Now this, wait a minute. This is another carousel, and these are turned backward, but we're going to go ahead and show them anyway. It's just a few of them, and 1980. They may look a little bad. This is over at the spring again, 1980. These are just not too good, but they're right. These are turned right.
They're turned right. There's Jody and myself.
There's a new barbecue pit that we built. That's Rick. Oh, I'm not looking at the right one. Leela's still with us. Buck and Helen and John and so forth. Back up in the right there with the orange cap on is Mr. Crumley with his old coveralls. No, that's overalls there, isn't it? But he's the guy that wore those coveralls. Washed to wear them. There's Jody and Helen and Creepy and what's my daughter's name? Regina and John and Helen and there's I believe that's one of Betty's son-in-laws in the background. I said Jody. This is the Paynes. These are the Paynes here. Aunt Eunice, Tim, and Goob. And they're maybe, is that Betty in the background? Or Greer? David. Well, I knew I had it wrong. Let's see, I'm not trying to, that's Horseshoe. I apologize. There's another picture of there's Rebecca. This is at Delano Church, one of our services while we were still in good standing in Delano. Went out there and had a choir Sunday afternoon. Had a good time. We enjoyed it. We don't do that anymore. That's past. Another scene there. This is who's the preacher here? Pat Fife. Miller clan. Clyde and Pig there in the front. John and Helen. Jim and Floss. And this is the
Brothers and sisters
brothers and sisters and their spouses. Duck wouldn't look so bad because it wasn't between those two pretty girls. This is one of my favorite pictures of Aunt Eunice standing on her front porch wearing that hat that she always wore. Dog in the background and snow on the ground. Dear Aunt Eunice. probably